Okay, welcome back. Still at the field and still flying the Apprentice S15E from E-Flite. And in the previous video I landed, the battery was about 11.6. So I'm going to use that battery again. I'm going to run it down to 11.1 until I hear the horn go off on the LiPo checker plugged into the battery. So here we go. Arming the throttle, checking the controls. And out we come. Hope you notice there how quickly it travels on this blacktop. It's a plastic surface. It's not a hard blacktop. It's a plastic surface, and we'll talk about how to fly on that in a future video. All right, so we're set to go. Put the throttle up to about 50 to 70% and start taking off. I'm in beginner mode. Well, that was a bad transition. I bumped the throttle as I was grabbing for the camera. That's all right. All right, I'm high enough in the air. I'm going to pull the throttle back to about 30% and descend a little. And I started the timer with about 9 minutes. And we're just going to see how long it will fly on the remainder of this battery till we hear a horn go off. Okay, getting low enough to put the throttle back up. Start a turn. Now, because I'm an experienced pilot, I'm flying lower to the ground than what I would expect a student to fly. If you're flying, I would be at least another 30, 50 feet in the air. You know, when you get below the tree line, you ought to be practicing your landings or something. Actually, I'm getting a little high here. I'm going to pull the throttle back just to about 35% and come on down a little. When I get low enough, I'll put the throttle back up there a little bit, and we're going to fly around. Throttle's a little, altitude's a little low, so I'm going to add a touch of power there. I could have made that turn just a little bit sharper. Throttle's at 50%. I'm climbing up back to 40%. Okay, so now, while I'm still waiting here, I'm in beginner mode. After the next turn, I'm going to make a turn in beginner mode and then switch to intermediate. Okay, the wind is picking up a little bit, so I'm going to touch the throttle up a little, switch to intermediate. Now you can see me do a nice steep turn. There's a steep turn. That was maximum bank angle and about half elevator pulled back. You got to be more careful when you're in intermediate mode because it is possible, as you've seen me before, stall the aircraft. We'll angle my wings around here a little bit. Keep it straight. And then do more of a standard turn, about a 45-degree bank turn, and come back around. So the throttle is at 50%, and part of the reason for that is because you're doing a steeper bank turn, you lose a bit more altitude. When you roll out, that altitude will pick back up, and then you go around and try it again. Okay. My trim is good. I'm able to let go of the stick as soon as it rolls out. I let go of the stick, see how well it's trimmed. I'm constantly checking the trim of the aircraft. It's just a habit you should get into. And so note here, I'm going to start a turn, pull with the ailerons neutral, and then roll out with opposite aileron. Remember, in intermediate mode, it does not roll out by itself. You have to roll it out. So left aileron to turn, pull back on the stick, neutral the ailerons, and then right aileron to roll out. These are very small movements, probably less than a quarter of the throw of the aileron. So the stick movements are relatively small for beginner mode and intermediate mode. Okay, I started the timer with 9 minutes. I got about 3 remaining, but I'm going to let it fly close to me here and see if I can hear a horn in a few minutes. I am going to do one of the flights in the future is going to be an endurance test. I'm going to put it in intermediate mode, take off, set the throttle for 50%, and just do this until I hear the horn, just to see how long it'll fly. You're probably wondering to yourself, like I am, what if I can't hear the horn? We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Again, I'm probably closer to the ground than I allow a student, but this is just for demonstration purposes, and by the fact that I have to control my camera at the same time I'm flying. So basically I'm controlling the movement of the camera with my left hand because I don't need to move the throttle or the rudder, and I can do everything with my right hand while I'm flying. Very often the guys out here will laugh at me because I always have my left hand on my hip flying and my right hand is doing all the flying, and my left hand is just hanging on my hip and not controlling the throttle. That's because you really don't need to. With an airplane like this, you can fly all day long and never touch the throttle, as demonstrated by this flight. Also in future flights, I'll have several flights. There's going to be at least 20 or 30 flights on film here, just to teach you everything I can about this aircraft. I'll have flights in experience mode showing you how to do certain acrobatic maneuvers that this airplane does well, and a few that it doesn't do well, so we'll find out. Okay, that was a close enough approach that I should have heard the horn. There's my timer for 9 minutes. Okay, I started the timer again. Sorry about the camera getting behind the airplane there. Okay, we'll get it down the runway here. Still no horn. Throttle's still at 50%, haven't touched it in the last 6 or 7 minutes. Okay, just to break up the monotony, I'll do a figure 8 this time. Okay, we'll get them down the other end of the runway, do another figure 8. Okay, we'll do a couple of 720s. That's a 360. We'll come around again for a 720. May have to touch a power a bit because I'm losing a bit of speed. And we'll try one at the other end. All right, getting a bit of sunshine out on the other end of the field. We'll see if that's too much glare for the film later. It shouldn't be too bad. You should be able to see the airplane quite well. Okay, we'll do a figure 8 in this direction. Okay. Okay, getting a bit low, touching the power up a little bit. Coming back, high enough, pull the power back. You'll get used to listening to where 50% power is as it goes by. And obviously we're going to get a lot of flight time on this one. I did start the timer again, and I'll check it here down at the other end of the field. So the first 9 minutes have gone by. Okay. So there's 6 minutes remaining on the timer. That was me bumping the throttle. Trying to move the camera. Going to bump the throttle up to 60%, gain a little bit of altitude. Doesn't take long for it to gain altitude. Pull the power back to 50. Don't want to hit those trees down there, so I'll do a sharper turn. Come for a close flyby and listen. I hear it beeping. I hear a beep. We're going to land. Okay, let me get lined up on the runway down here. Pull the throttle to idle and land it. Okay, it quits the beeping quits. Let me aim the camera down at the airplane here. The beeping quits when you pull the throttle idle. Listen. Well, all right. I want to. Hope you can hear that. Okay, throttle is cut. We're gonna, okay, you can hear that the beeping stops, meaning it was below 11.1 and now it's above 11.1. Okay, so I'm gonna take the battery out and check the beeper and the LiPo checker to see exactly what the LiPo checker says. Remember, while it's flying, it's under power, it's gonna be higher than later. So let's see here. 11.2, 378, 37. Okay, hang on, wait a minute, let me read this right. Okay, so it's all 11.2, 373, 372, 373. Okay, so it's right at the minimum. So the beeper actually worked pretty well. 3.70 or below, it starts beeping, and so it was beeping, and I could hear it beeping in the ears. Maybe I'll see if you can hear it on the film. So it does work. Not the best solution, but it does work. And thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next video.